Middle school was tough. I mean, coming from a special needs background and needing those accommodations and just being also told that I wasn't going to do much with my life. I mean, I wasn't going to graduate high school. I was going to drop out. College wasn't going to be an option. Being told all those things.
Because I'm insecure in myself, maybe they have an idea of who I should be. So I'm going to look at them and just imitate and mimic them to maybe be accepted or feel good about myself.
Absolutely. I think a lot of that, I see a lot of that in some other people that I know. They use what they know as an excuse. I told them if I would have let that happen to me, they would have won.
If you could meet the 13-year-old Audrey today, what would be different about that experience? What would be different about her eyes? If you could meet that 13-year-old Audrey today, what would be different from now, who you are now, to then? What are the differences?
Oh, gosh.
Welcome to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in the studio with my incredible co-host, Coach Mia.
Hello, Seth.
And if you just tuned in, thank you for tuning in. We've got a great show. So 20 plus years ago, we started 5-Star Life. We're on a mission to transform students' lives by challenging the way they think, the way they act, the way they lead, while equipping them with the academic, the athletic, the social, and the employability skills they need to thrive. And today's show is super special because we're turning back the clock. We have a student who 15 years ago, she entered middle school as a 6th grader. And she was told some terrible things. She had an IEP. She had an individualized learning plan. She had a disability, and she was told all kinds of horrible things. And I'm not going to steal her thunder. She's going to talk about that. And she was supposed to be a statistic, basically. She was not supposed to make it. So we have Audrey. She's going to share her story and give us an update on where she was 15 years ago, where she is today. And let me tell you, it's a great story. There's so many bad stories out there, so many negative stories about kids that make the wrong choice, that don't have the supports, don't receive the supports, and all the parents that maybe make the wrong decision. This story is exactly the opposite. So stay tuned. It's going to be good. We're going to have a fun show.
Yeah, you know what? I love when they come back and they share their story and that we're part of that story. And so many kids are labeled and told, you know, a different story than their parents are thinking, their grandparents are thinking, that they're even thinking. So it's I'm excited to hear what she has to say and hear her story.
Yeah, and I mean, it's why in our curriculum and what we teach in 5-Star. By the way, you know, you can listen to this show anywhere podcasts are streamed. You can watch us if you're a visual learner on our YouTube page at the 5-Star Life or at yourhometv.com, so you can watch this. But, you know, one of the things that we teach in our curriculum very consistently is that, you know, listen, students, you are the stories you tell yourself. There's this branch of psychology called narrative psychology where it basically says that, you know, we have a narrative going in our minds all the time that's telling a story, and that story impacts how we show up, how we behave, how we look at ourselves in the mirror, how we treat people. And so starting to think through, what is the story that I'm telling myself about my potential, about my value, about my very core identity, like who am I? Where is that coming from? And does that line up with what I want for me? And most of us don't think about that. I met with a school, actually an ISD in Michigan, Southwest Michigan today. And one of these executives, they're all amazing educators and they oversee 20 some school districts. And, you know, they're looking at our curriculum, looking at our content for their region. And she just said, you know, this stuff is not being taught. Like, I had to learn this. It took me 25 years to figure this out. Like, I mean, I got through high school and then it was like another series of learning opportunities that I realized, like, this is who I want to be. This is who I am. This is what's possible. These are the values I need to live by. These are the mindsets I need to have. Like, you have to figure it out on your own.
And think about, when you were saying that, I was thinking of all the schools and all the kids that don't get to hear that from 5-Star. And then you take that into adulthood, just like this woman, and you got to figure it out yourself. So everybody, we want to be in your schools. I mean, listen, go to our app, look and see what we do. There's our podcasts on YouTube, and we have some free resources, and check it out.
Yeah, and it's transformational. And I think that's why Five Star Life exists, right? We want to transform students and families' lives. And we have so many resources that are available that we've made really easy for you to get a hold of. And so one thing before we get into Audri is we have a Five Star Life parent app, and that's why we designed that, because it's really hard. Parenting is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And if you as a parent can have the resources to help your kids when you see them struggling with confidence or with self-image or identity or with peer pressure, all these things, we have a masterclass that will address that. You can walk them through, and it will reconnect you. That's one of the most consistent things we hear from families, from parents and kids, is it reunited us. It gave us common ground. It opened up dialogue. It gave us a platform to do that. And so we want to do that. But you know what? So without further ado, we'll flip it over and let you guys hear from Audri. Welcome back to the Five Star Life Show. My name is Coach Seth, and we've got an incredible show lined up for you today. If you just tuned in, you're like, what is Five Star Life all about? I'm glad you asked. We are on a mission to transform students' lives by challenging the way they think, the way they act, the way they lead, while equipping them with the academic, the athletic, the social, and the employability skills they need to thrive. And we've been doing this for 20 years, and we're working with tens of thousands of kids. Go to fivestarlife.org to learn more. And also, some of you listen all the time. You're listening like crazy, and you're like, man, I wish my aunt could listen to this show, or wish my niece could. She's an educator. She should listen to this. Well, we now have a way for you to do that. You can listen to this show anywhere podcasts are streamed. You can also watch this if you're a visual learner, you're a YouTube person. Go to YouTube at The Five Star Life or yourhometv.com. Both of them have all the archive shows there. Go check them out. Again, learn more at fivestarlife.org. But I want to jump into our show right away because we have a treat. I said we've been doing Five Star for 20 years, and I have somebody, a special guest, who's a part of Five Star Life in the early years, and her name is Audri. Audri, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you for taking time. This is going to be fun. I know your story. I've watched you grow. I'm so proud of you, of the woman you've become. And I remember where you started.
Yes.
Let's turn back time a little bit and help our listening audience get a sense for what middle school Audri, who middle school Audri was, and what that was like starting middle school for you.
Middle school was tough. Coming from a special needs background and having a lot of needing those accommodations. So that was tough as a child. And just being also told that I wasn't going to do much with my life. I wasn't going to graduate high school. I was going to drop out. College wasn't going to be an option. Being told all those things, but then having the support of my family, my mom and my dad were a huge support in my background of education. And if they didn't fight for me, I wasn't going to have that opportunity like I have today. So they're the biggest things they're the biggest things I have that support me, and the biggest things of my opportunities I have now.
So you're going into middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's told you or your family that you wouldn't, like somebody actually told you that.
Yep. Yes.
And how did your parents respond to that?
My dad, we had this conversation because he's the one that told me this happened. I don't remember it happening, but he was the one that said, "Oh, this is what it's happened," and I've had this conversation with people before, and I was stunned. He said she'll set her mind to anything she can, like she'll do whatever it takes, and he was the rock I needed, and my mom was definitely the big support too. They both have said anything I set my mind to, I can do. So it doesn't matter the IEP. It doesn't matter, what barrier she has in front of her. She can set it.
So, one, the power of a parent that gets a bad report from the experts, from the professionals,
Yep.
about their little girl.
Yep.
And they basically blocked it and said, "No, thank you." I know you're an expert, respect you. You're giving us bad advice in this one. My girl's going to make it.
They know their daughter. They know who she is. They know she could have been back then and who she was going to be. So that's where they got their charisma from.
Man,
So
incredible. To every parent listening, to every grandparent listening, the lesson here is, do you have the wisdom and the strength to maybe block the negativity from the experts? Again, there are sometimes we all have to take bad news and sometimes in course correct. But with your parents, they knew like she can do this.
yes,
We're not going to label her with this IEP with these special needs and say this is going to cause her to be limited the rest of her life.
yep,
That's a big deal. And there's some parents and grandparents listening right now that you need to hear that. You need to own and follow the model of Audri's parents because that had a huge impact on your life. But the reality was you're still a 12-year-old girl in middle school.
mm-hmm.
What was that? What was it like? It was hard.
It was.
Talk about why.
Just the transition from elementary school to middle school, that's a big change for anybody. And then you have on top of it like a learning disability or I have an eye, I'm legally blind in one eye. So going from those changes and trying to figure out the dynamics of middle school and trying to deal with all of that and then deal with socially on top of that. Like we all want to fit in, but that's where 5-Star comes about. And they say, we don't all have to fit in. We don't all have to fit in with each other. We make each other who we are. And it's the responsibility, the integrity, all the 5-Star lives. I can't remember the other ones, but I remember those two are the biggest things. You don't have to fit in with somebody. You be yourself and they will love you for who you are.
Talk a little bit, talking to middle school kids, parents especially. Most of them say, man, my kids are strong with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a volatile place to be in. Where were you at with your confidence and your identity at that phase of life? I know where you are now, but
Yes.
where were you then?
Not as strong as I am now. Honestly, my confidence was very low. Just trying to figure out who I was. And I really did struggle with my confidence back then because at the typical, I just wanted to be everybody else. And I didn't want to be myself. But I learned over time that you are who you are because you were made to be this way. And you're kind of, I learned to deal with it, not deal with it. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But I learned to grow as a person and be that who I am. And not just try to fit in with somebody. Because if you're trying to fit in with somebody, you're not who you are at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you're being a version of yourself that you shouldn't be.
You're looking at somebody else saying, okay, that's because I'm insecure in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they have an idea of who I should be. So I'm going to look at them and just imitate and mimic them to maybe be accepted or feel good about myself.
Yes, you put the words right out of my mouth, and I just couldn't think about it.
No. You articulated all that. It's what happens in middle school. And I think so many middle school kids think they're the only ones that feel that way. And so many parents think their kids are the only ones that feel that way. And like, man, my kid's struggling with confidence. Well, welcome to that age group because every kid at that stage, just about, it's the 1 to 5% of kids that don't struggle with that.
Yep.
Right? They're the unicorns. But otherwise, it's normal.
Yes, it is.
So what helped change that was, you've talked about 5-star, the impact 5-Stars had. Walk me through Audri's kind of the process you went through and where you began to realize like, man, it's my character. It's the values I have that create the person I want to be.
Honestly, 5-Star was the reason of that. Like I had, I remember from an early age, I remember seeing you on like coming out teaching us and telling us stories. And I remember being Coach Ashley. I still have contact with her actually. So I remember her. So I just wanted to say thank you to her because she has been the biggest inspiration too. I ran into her a couple times since 5-Star Life ended, or like since I ended with not ended. Since I ended middle school.
Yeah.
So it's the people change your life, and you want to stick them in you want to keep them in your life. And she did. She made a big impact on who I was, and she helped change and see that there are bigger things. And then when I got the opportunity, when I was a freshman in college, I got to be a coach. So that was a huge, and I want to do the same thing for other people that she did for me. So,
tell me about Ashley. Why and how did she have so much influence and impact in your life, and why was that so important at that stage?
she was so positive, and that's where I want to be. I love the positivity she brought, and just she was amazing, and I wanted to be like her. So that's kind of where I got mine. Like, I wanted to be a coach. I want to do this, and I actually was able to be a coach. Was dealing with some stressors for a little while, so I had to step out of it because of college was a lot, and I was trying to figure out the navigation of that. So I didn't want to overwhelm myself. But for the semester that I was there, I loved it, and I loved making that impact on the kids.
So, in how many years has it been? Do you remember when you joined 5-Star, 6th grade? How many years has it been?
Oh gosh.
I was trying to do the math.
I can't
Is it
remember.
like 13 years or something?
Yeah,
or 14
because I
years?
was. It's 2013. I think 2013 is when I ended 5-Star.
Oh, geez. So it's been more like 15 years. When you started middle school. Yeah. If you were in 8th grade.
It was I think a 2013. I can't remember. It's been so long.
15 years.
Yeah.
So the cool thing, and this is so much fun for me because, Audri, the 12-year-old Audri in 6th grade with low confidence had just been told that, welcome to middle school. You'll never graduate.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never go to college is what they told you.
Mm-hmm. From a young age before middle school.
And then, is this true? I remember you telling me that they actually went so far as to say, plan on her living in your basement for the rest of her life.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like, just planned for to have her and not doing anything. And it's just insane.
It's insane. And now, in a nutshell, you did graduate high school.
I did.
You went to college.
Yep. I'm a WMU, Western Michigan University alumni.
Got your bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a year ago, I see a post on social media saying, grad school, here we go. And I was like, what? Audri's going to grad school? I was so elated. I can't explain how proud of you in that moment that, like, this girl just keeps on overcoming the odds, keeps pushing herself. So you're in the middle of grad school. You got 1 year, you're under your belt?
Yes, I got 1 year. I'm at Goshen College. So it's a private school. It's online. And then I start my internship in the spring semester.
And tell us what you're studying.
Social work.
And what are you doing right now? Because you're not just going to school, grad school, you're employed.
Yes. I work full time at Oaklawn.
And what are you doing there?
Case manager.
So you went from someone who was given up on, who was told they'd never graduate, would never go to college, would never drive, would never, like, you. I see you driving in here.
Mm-hmm.
I see you, like, you're independent. You're a grown woman doing great things, living a 5-star life.
Yes.
This is so exciting. And you're giving back, impacting kids. All right. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more Audri after this. But I just want to say, listen, there's a message for everybody here, whether you're a parent, grandparent, or you're a business leader, somebody who's thinking about investing in the next generation. It takes two, like a couple parents to believe in their daughter and to fight for their daughter. It takes Coach Ashley to give her time once a week for how many weeks and months and years that she poured into Audri. It takes personnel, staff. It takes a lot. And you can go to 5starlife.org to learn how you can be a part of investing in the next Audri. We'll be right back after this. The 5-Star Life Parent app. Each lesson includes a short video and simple discussion prompts designed to help families reconnect and start talking again. Because when parents lead the conversation, kids grow stronger. Download the 5-Star Life Parent app today and start your first family conversation this week, transforming kids' lives by challenging the way they think, act, and lead. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with Audri, former 5-Star Life student, part of the 5-Star family forever. That's how it works with 5-Star Life. And having this incredible conversation. If you missed the last segment, you have to go back and listen to the previous segment because it will help you follow what we're talking about here. Audri's story is incredible young woman, incredible family. And we want to share these. There's so much negativity in the media. Yes. About people, about kids, about people underperforming, about all the problems. And I want to boost what's happening here with you because what can happen when a student is a sponge and when a student receives the positivity from people in their lives who believe in them, which you did, and when that student has people that pours into them and fights for them and challenges them, holds them accountable. It turns you into a person that then becomes that for the next person. And that's what you're doing.
Yes. And
it's so fun. So we're kind of talking about now. We're also going back to before. Tell me this. What was some of the biggest obstacles you had to overcome when you think about middle school? What were some of the biggest challenges? I know that I'm going back 15 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
but taking it back to your confidence was low. You had a disability. You wanted to fit in. There's all these factors. What were some of the things that you had to overcome that were hard, but that you were able to tackle?
Honestly, I don't remember a lot. It's been a long time. I think just overcoming the barriers of people saying, you couldn't do this. That was the biggest barrier I feel like I had to overcome. And showing them, I can do anything I set my mind to. Because it didn't feel right for somebody to say that to me. Like, they can't predict the next 20 years or 15 years. Like, they don't know where I'm going to be at. They can say all that they want, but at the end of the day, it's about me and it's about everybody else who may feel that way or may get told they're not going to do something. They have to want to do it.
Yeah. Did you have moments where it would have been easier to believe them, to use it as an excuse?
Absolutely. I think a lot of that, I see a lot of that in some other people that I know. They use what they know as an excuse. And I told them if I would have let that happen to me, they would have won. And so I tell everybody that I know, you can do anything you set your mind to. Like my aunt told me. She's no longer with us. So that's the tough thing. She battled cancer for 11 years, stage 4. So it was a lot on us, a lot on the family, and not because of her or anything like that. It was just because of watching her defeat. But she didn't really. That's where I got my charisma from, is my Aunt Chrissy. She, when I was 13 when she got diagnosed, and she just passed away in 2024.
Oh my goodness.
And so I'm a lot like her in the socialness aspect because I'm very social. I can talk to anybody, and she was that way as well. She was very social, could make friends with anybody. So.
And it sounds like she didn't let the diagnosis stop her from living or fighting. She didn't give up. She didn't wave the white flag saying, okay. Nope. She kept fighting.
Yep. Until she was given the point of, there's nothing more we can do medically.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's when it all kind of went. And I'm like, it was a lot to watch, but I knew everybody says, it's at that point they lose their fight. No, they win their fight because they're right where they want to be. They're pain free. They're no longer suffering.
Yeah. She
was a big part of that. And that's anytime I did something good, I could see her on Facebook going, woohoo. So it's now that I look at grad school and I don't have her here because she was also a social worker as well. So she was a teacher in our community as well. She did a lot in our community. So
you had heroes in your life. I think that all of us have heroes. Audrey, I don't think a lot of us recognize those heroes.
No.
Because you somehow find a way to, again, you're like a sponge. You attract, you're magnetic, you draw in the positive energy and wisdom from the people around you. So it like boosts you, it maximizes you, it enhances your life.
Yes.
And I think that's something we teach to kids. Like, you have the same kid in the same environment. One, all they see is the negativity, all they see is the circumstance, and the other receives all the good. And you made, and I think that's a choice.
Yes.
Is that something you had to choose like every day? Or did it just at some point, did it become a part of you?
It became a part of me. It's like, it was a lot to learn at a young age, but I feel like we also, at a young age, like I had to learn how to ask questions. I had to learn to stand up for myself. It was just what I learned, but honestly, the people around me have always been my support. And it took a lot of, seeing who that support was too.
So you had haters out the gate. Some of them were in leadership positions.
Yep.
We didn't talk about peers. How did you deal with, like, we're going to use some of this for students as well.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
just the radio, but for students. So thinking about some of our students that are dealing with haters in their peers, and maybe they have a disability. Maybe they've been told this, that, or the other thing. How did you deal with the peer haters?
I didn't have a lot of peer haters, honestly. I had some really good friends. I still do. Some of them I'm still friends with. Others we parted ways because we learned it just wasn't the right fit for each other. And you grow. People in your life for a reason, and then they step out for a reason. They're there for the chapter, and then maybe their chapter's done. And things happened. I have one friend who I'm still really good friends with since second grade, Keegan. I don't know if you remember him or not.
I do remember Keegan.
Yeah, we're still friends to this day. He's doing really well too. So
I'd love to reconnect with him.
yeah.
Get an update from him. We love hearing from former 5-star students. I think this is me, and I think I'm right. But I think you had haters. I think you ignored the haters, and I think you just focus on the people that are for you.
Yep.
I mean, it's something we teach in 5-star, but I think you naturally do this, and I think you've lived this way. I do the same thing. I call myself like, I don't know. I'd say I'm naive, and some of it's intentionality. Just like I think everybody loves me because that's what I want to focus on. I want to bring in the good stuff. If they don't like me, you know what? I think maybe they're just having a bad moment. They probably like me. They're just having a bad moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people I know that have bad attitudes, but I'm like, they're probably just having a bad day. They're maybe taking it out of me, but they don't mean to.
Yeah.
So I get that.
It's a great way to live a light-free, bitter-free life. All right. So talk a little bit. We're fast forwarding, and tell me. Actually, one more question about the past. If you could meet the 13-year-old Audrey today, what would be different about that experience? What would be different about her eyes? If you could meet that 13-year-old Audrey today, what would be different from now, who you are now, to then? What are the differences?
Oh gosh, the positivity that I have in my life. I'm very positive. I think I was back then, but I'm a lot more now. I see the good in people, and I want to help them. And I'm very good at that. I love helping people. And that's the difference in today is, yes, I was like that back then, but I think it's grown so much since I was 13.
What I think is amazing, and this is a message for students and parents, like if you have a daughter like Audrey who you see that she just, what do you want to do with your life? I don't know, but she loves to help people. That can be a career. I mean, it's part of how I became who I am. Like, I love helping people.
Yes.
And sometimes we get limited into thinking, well, I've got to find something for my kid to make a bunch of money, or I've got to think about a practical career for them. It's like, can you follow some of their natural tendencies and let those lead the way?
I didn't know at 13 what I wanted to do in my life, and I feel like a lot of us tell 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, you got to figure out what you want to do with what you want to do with your life. And I don't think they know exactly what they want to do. They know their likes, they know their dislikes. But I think letting them figure that out on their own and letting them make mistakes is part of growing up too. I didn't know at 13 I wanted to be a social worker. That is something I never thought about. But now, after I lived in Virginia for about a year and a half, and I worked in a residential, I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life because those kids made an impact on me. And they always told me, I think you'd be a good therapist.
Talk a little bit about that experience.
Mm-hmm.
What types of kids?
They weren't I don't know how to describe.
They're in residential treatment,
Mm-hmm.
so they're struggling
Yes.
mentally, emotionally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Behaviorally.
Yes, but I didn't see them as that. I saw them as kids who there may have had some issues that because of what they have seen and the trauma they may have been through. But I saw them for who they are and who they could be. And I told a lot of the kids that. I said, you can be anything other than this. Like, this is just a stepping stone. You're going to do great things in life. And a lot of them were sad when I left. A lot of them were crying because I saw them, I talked to them about who they could be, and I just saw them for them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see them for any of the issues, maybe the issues they everybody else was seeing, but I just wanted to get to know who they were as a person and not for what brought them there.
Sure. Which is, in this world, not many people truly see you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're so fast-paced, we're so busy. So that's a beautiful thing you learn from your parents, Coach Ashley.
Yep.
Really powerful. All right. What would you tell if you were talking to a student, a middle school student, high school student, who's looking for hope? They've been labeled. What would you tell that student?
The thing I would tell them is don't give up. Because if you give up, you're letting somebody win. And you're going to have more power in this world than you think you are. So don't lose hope, ever. Don't lose hope. Because at the end of the day, if you lose hope, you're letting that person win. And you can be anything you set your mind to.
What would you tell a parent in that situation who's got a struggling student? Maybe they've been labeled and limited, struggle with confidence. What would you say to that parent?
Don't give up on them because they are going to need you too. And they are going to need your support. And your support is going to help guide them to who they want to be.
Again, I hope parents are absorbing this and soaking this in. Because for some of you parents, you've been doing that. Stay the course with this. All right. Audrey.
Yeah.
Audrey. We have Audrey on our staff. Thank you for taking some time. We're going to take a little break and come back with just a little more time with Audrey. Do you have time?
Yep.
Okay, stay with us. Listening audience, stay tuned. Also, if you're in front of your phone, send this to a friend, a family member. It's an awesome show. And you have people that are going through stuff. Sometimes you need that boost, that person that's been through it to remind you of what can be. We'll be right back after this. At 5 Star Life, we talk a lot about the right tools. See, the hammer is the courage to be the best person you can be. The chisel is the respect you give and the respect you earn. The level, that's the integrity that keeps you balanced in a world that's always shifting. And the saw represents responsibility. It is what separates you from harmful actions and experience. It's the sacrifice it takes to work hard and be your best. Tools, when they're all used together, things are built. There's progress, but where there are no tools, there can be no progress. We give these important tools to kids every single day, and we couldn't do it without our partners like Global Link Distribution. Global Link supports this mission so that these values, courage, respect, integrity, responsibility, and sacrifice become the tools these amazing young people use to become great. Global Link Distribution is a leader and supplier to the RV, manufactured housing, cabinet shop, cargo, and horse trailer industries, but they're also a proud sponsor of this program to help 5 Star Life students thrive. It is our turn to see to it that our children have the tools that build greatness. Volunteer or donate today at 5starlife.org. Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show. We are having a conversation with Audrey, former 5 Star Life student. 15 years ago, she entered the program, and now 15 years later, we're having this kind of reunion and a catch-up session from where you were being told, entering middle school, by the school that you'll never graduate, you'll never go to college, you'll basically always be dependent, you'll never drive, you have these disabilities, these limitations, and parents just prepare for her to live in the basement the rest of her life. And so, what a cruel thing to tell a child and their parents. But man, your parents, parents have so much influence, and we live in a society where I think this is shifting, but like the pendulum swung to the side where we're like, trust the experts, listen to the experts, like they're the experts. And that's so true. You should trust the experts, but you also got to trust your gut when you know your child.
Yes.
And you've got to go with that gut instinct that otherwise they would have opened the door for you to be a victim the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And they would have robbed you of the opportunity to be who you were created to be and live this fulfilling life of service and of impact and of influence. And I want to make sure parents are hearing this, because some of you parents and grandparents, you are at the end of your wits in some ways. It's tiring, it's exhausting being a parent. And maybe you've got a student with a learning disability, maybe you've got a student that's been labeled. But it's not over, and your belief is everything. All right. What would you say to a teacher who has a student like Audri, who, according to the testing, has all these limitations? What would you tell that teacher today?
If I could go back and change what they said, or more.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I could look at them and say, don't label them, because they aren't. You might label them, but at the end of the day, they're gonna out label those labels. They're not gonna be those labels, because just because you think that's what they're gonna do, they're gonna do 1,000% more. Those labels are not who they are. And I think we tend to put labels on people because society. And I don't think that's right. I think we should all encourage people and encourage them to do better with their lives and let them be who they are. Because everybody's in this world for some reason. And they're here to make a difference, or they're here to be a strong person, be a strong leader, and that's who they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think, to me, teachers, leaders, if they can lay out, here's what the research says, statistically, here's what they say, but you get to choose. If you will work hard, if you will get tutors, if you will do this, if you'll do that, if you will, go to 5-star, if you will do all these things, you're going to live a fantastic life. That's what the message should be from adults and kids' lives. I'm curious, who saw something in you that no one else could see through this process?
Family. They definitely saw through me. They saw who I could be. I know there were a lot of challenges growing up, but I got through those challenges and I learned from them, and I made myself better because of those decisions. Like, we go through things and they make us who we are. And we may not want to go through those bad things, but at the end of the day, they make us who we are. And they made me resilient. They made me strong. They made me willed, like willpower. I have a lot of willpower to get through anything after what I've seen, and a lot. So it was challenging, but it made me who I am.
And this may be hard to pinpoint, what stage did you realize, like, I'm becoming someone different? Like, I am becoming something amazing?
Honestly, it took me a little while to realize that. Probably I was in college when I realized that like high school was hard because I was navigating a new school. I was trying to navigate new friends. That was tough because I moved right after my 8th grade year into Michigan, and that was tough. Being a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, lost track of ages right now because it's been so long, probably 14, trying to deal with being in a new school. And that was tough. So those are navigating. Once I got my navigation down, I got my friends, I really started to succeed, and I won an award for my junior year for math, and I had struggled with math my entire life. So that was something that really helped me, and I really saw that I could be something better. That's when it started, and then I realized it probably my freshman year of college. So
The compound effect of consistent growth and effort, you realize like, hey, I'm doing well.
yes.
Yeah, I like who I am. What was there a moment ever where you were tempted to throw in the towel and just like give up?
Yeah, freshman year of high school. That was tough. I mean, moving to a new school, I know it was the best thing because going from a big high school that was 800 people in your class to I think I had 200 kids in my class, that was a lot. It was a lot better for me because then I have more one-on-one support from teachers, and the school was very helpful with that. So I think I had a lot of really good teachers. I still remember some of my teachers.
It's amazing. Incredible. This is one of those moments for me that I just am beside myself in pride for the woman you've become now. And the fact that you went from going through the program, being the one that needed that positive energy, needed that person to be challenged, but also to breathe some hope and life and have a place to belong, to now creating that space for others through your work and your graduate degree. We'll bring you back when you finish that and as you continue to go through grad school, but we're just really proud of you.
Thank you.
Anything else that I should have asked? Any other updates you want to share?
No, I will have my degree in 2029. I'll hit 30, and I will hit 30 and graduate, or I'll graduate right for my 30th birthday.
Incredible. What's the last thing, part of your caseload? What's the most fulfilling part of what you do?
Honestly, building that rapport, because that rapport is huge with anybody on your caseload or anybody that you're working with. That's a huge thing. If they don't have that rapport, they won't trust you.
And trust is the foundation of every relationship.
Yes, it is.
You have trust, now you can offer support and they can receive it. I love it. You get it. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. Listen, what a fun show. Again, make sure you text this or send this to a friend or family member or coworker that really enjoys this program. But we're going to take just a quick break, and we'll come back with more after this. The 5-Star Life Parent app. Each lesson includes a short video and simple discussion prompts designed to help families reconnect and start talking again. Because when parents lead the conversation, kids grow stronger. Download the 5-Star Life Parent app today and start your first family conversation this week, transforming kids' lives by challenging the way they think, act, and lead. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm here with my co-host, Coach Mia. And what a fun show.
Oh, my. Wow. First of all, what a lovely young woman that Audri is.
Mm-hmm.
Just her spirit, I can't say enough. I mean, it was joy to listen to her and see how she has overcome so much. My gosh.
So much. And shout out to her parents and shout out to Coach Ashley. Our volunteers and our staff, it's funny. Me doing this for 20 plus years, I see the rhythms of change and transformation. And you have moments where these coaches are like, am I making a difference? And I'm just like, oh, you are. Oh, don't just stay the course. Stay the course. One of the biggest issues, Mia, is whether it's a parent, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a volunteer, we give up far too fast. And that's the real test the real test of whether you're going to truly have a transformational impact in a person's life or it's just a transactional impact. There is a part of our ego that wants to have impact, but it's for us. It's transactional. Like, I want to make a difference for me.
Yeah.
People who have transformational impact, they fight through the transactional, this is fulfilling for me. I'm doing this for me. They fight through all that transactional stuff, and it's really about transformations. They're like, I don't care how long it takes. I'm not giving up. I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm going to stay the course. And those people that stay the course, they see transformational outcomes consistently. I mean, time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it long enough, you're going to have some heartbreaking moments, though, right?
Sure.
I have some of those stories. Yeah. I have some heartbreaking things that you did everything you could, and they still got themselves in a really bad spot, right?
Yeah.
But then you're still there. You stick with it. And I think part of our issue in society is we have so many resources that if this doesn't work in a certain amount of time, I can just pass the buck.
Yeah. I've done all I can. I'm not equipped.
This is too much.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody needs somebody in their life that believes in them enough and believes in them through thick and thin and believes in them even when nobody else believes in them. That is really where transformation can be powerful for the most needy of kids.
Mm-hmm. And, her story, somehow she was like, I always called it Sammy the Seal, like things just, rolled off her back, or she didn't let that stick to her. And all around her, people were labeling her.
Mm-hmm.
And again, shout out to her parents, because it sounded like her parents were the rocks. Her parents were the ones that, kind of refocused her. But it also seems like she just has this incredible spirit, this ability to just look forward and not backward.
Yes. She's incredibly resilient, and there's so much cynicism and skepticism. And I think part of that is like, having smartphones. I think like what's happening on the internet, kids are getting far too much cynicism and far too much skepticism early on. And so they can't just have that naivety or that purity just to receive something positive somebody wants to bring to them and suggest these simple principles of like, you know what? You can choose to be grateful, or you can choose to focus on the negativity today.
Mm-hmm.
You can complain, or you can be grateful. And if you will choose gratitude, and if you look, you will find the good. You will keep finding more of the good, because whatever we look for, we find.
Yeah.
Well, she took that principle and said, okay, and she adopted it. And again, this is the power of a coach. This is the power of 5-star. This is the power of parenting. And when all those universes come together, it's transformational.
Yeah. And I love her story that, she did that. She allowed her coaches to, be like penetrate her heart, and then went and did that for other kids. I mean, that is the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us take what people give us, but we don't take that and, refocus it to somebody else or to something else that can make a difference.
Yeah. And, for those who got to see her, you can see there's just life.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this joy. She's got this lightness, this excitement for life. Like, life is good. And her life's not perfect. Right? It's never been perfect. But she is loving life. She's enjoying it. She's thriving. She's rising. She's doing all those things. And again, this is the power of 5-star life, and it's infectious. There's a ripple effect that starts. I think people that listen to the show, they feel that. Mm-hmm. Every volunteer, every coach that's a part of this, that's why they stick around. Because it's like a movement that you're a part of. You want to be swept up in it. You want to stay in that flow. Mm-hmm. And that's a great time just to pause and mention, like, if you're not impacting people in a positive way, you're not volunteering, you're not serving, you're not involved anywhere, I just want to challenge you on that. And usually the reason is I'm too busy. And I would just say this, you make time for what matters. And I would say that our volunteers, they're all busy people. They're really busy. And they make time. And what they say is, I would never give this up because this fuel, it somehow I'm giving more time, I'm giving more energy, but somehow it infuses me with more focus, with more energy, with more purpose. And I get so much out of it. And so I would just encourage those of you who are listening that like, man, I'd love to be a part of it, but I'm too busy. I just want you to challenge that thought, not because I'm trying to twist your arm into doing this, but because you need to challenge that thought. Because what if you're missing out on impacting the next Audrey? What if you're missing out on recreating the next Audrey because you're too busy? When really, again, just we have so many people that say, I can't live without this now.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, too? Our volunteers become those voices that helped push Audrey in the right direction and helped and encouraged her and gave her hope. She talked a lot about hope.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of it when you're faced with some, adversity. Yeah.
It's big. One of the things that came up, so I had a meeting with a school district this morning, and they asked about because their biggest issue in the whole region they're in, it's like 18 school districts, is like kids feeling a sense of belonging and teachers being equipped with the skills to deal with today's student. And they all just said, we're dealing with the students that we're getting are so different than they've ever been. And a lot of people say, well, the kids are kids are kids are kids. Yeah, no. They're kids. But because of smartphones and because of also COVID, that was a game changer. Kids, they're learning differently. Their brains, if they don't have a parent at home who is reading to them, reading with them, taking them places, exploring, getting them outside, so many of our kids are being raised in front of screens. Mm-hmm. And it is changing kids. It's changing them in a big way. How they learn, how they process information, how they interact, how they show up ready to learn, or just the work ethic or lack of their brain is lazy. So it's really hard. Everything's hard. And they don't want to do hard. Mm-hmm. They want to do easy. So we're talking, and one of the things we addressed this morning is, they asked about professional development. And there's this huge need for us to train up teachers and parents and kids in what we're talking about here with the polyvagal theory. And, if you're listening by radio or podcast and you can't see this, if you go to YouTube or yourhometv.com at the 5-Star Life, I'm holding up this image of the polyvagal theory and polyvagal ladder. And we have lessons in our app that walk parents and kids and teachers through this. I believe that if every kid, and every parent, and every teacher, and everybody that works with kids could understand the power of their nervous system. So many people, Mia, and kids get labeled as, well, that kid's he's mean, or that kid's, he's got rage and anger. He's a defiant child, and he's a strong-willed child, and they're a moody child, and they're a depressed child. We have all these labels that put kids in a category. And I'm telling you, the truth is, these are kids that are stuck in one of these states. Mm-hmm. It's not who they are. It's where they are in their nervous system. And so these kids feel the shame and the weight of this is who I am. And they feel frustrated. And then the longer they hold it, then they feel miserable. And then the longer they feel like insecure. And then they start to believe this is who I am. And then they start not liking themselves, like something's wrong with me. I guess this is who I am. Then it becomes a part of their identity. And they can stay stuck here. Even though they can change and come out of it, they believe the lie that this is who I am, when actually the truth from a neuroscience standpoint and from a physiological standpoint is they're in a state of being that there are so many things that can help you rise up. And our curriculum teaches kids and parents and teachers, what are the things that help you shift up the ladder? This is, I believe, going to be a game changer for how people learn to grow and understand who they are. And it's something that can put an end to these horrible labels that people carry and that limit them.
And imagine if you're child's teacher is walking them through this. And then they come home and you're walking them through this. And then pretty soon they can do it by themselves.
And think about when the kid who up at the top of this ladder is where you're clear, where you're safe, where you're connected, where everything's possible. You're able to connect and build relationships here. In the middle, this is where you're in fight or flight. This is where anxiety lives. This is where hostility lives. This is where stress, pressure, and angst live. And at the bottom is where depression. This is where we go to shut down and isolate and disconnect from the world. And there's physical manifestations that correlate to each area. This is where we feel great. This is where our immune system gets built up. This is why people who live here rarely get sick. Their immune system's strong. Here, this is where the immune system takes a hit. This is where you have heart issues. This is where you have gut issues. There's so many damaging effects to this. But imagine if a parent or a kid or a teacher can recognize where they're at. This is where the genius parenting lives. This is where the genius teaching lives when the kids are in conflict. Because here is where you can see yourself clearly and you can see the other person clearly. When you're in fight or flight, you can't see the threat properly. So usually adults, when their kids are here, it causes these adults to go here. Mm-hmm. And now you have chaos, you have conflict, it doesn't end well. Or you're here, you're totally checked out and you're abandoning your kids. Or kids are walking away or running away, trying to hide. You can't reach them. This is stuff that we're going to be offering more and more courses and lessons on and have a lot of it already there. So go to 5starlife.org to learn more. We have a 5-Star Life parent app. You can go to the Google Play Store right now today. You can go to the the Apple Store and check out the 5-Star Life app right now. But what a fun show.
Oh my gosh, it was a great show.
Join us. Go to 5starlife.org. Obviously, you can hear the passion and the research and the tools that we have to support our outreach in our mission of transforming students' lives. Be a part of the change. Go to 5starlife.org. Thanks for tuning in. Again, follow us. Send this to a friend or a family member. We'll see you next week.